Are you in Taipei? Welcome and thank you for joining us on the Asian Online Session number 12. Tonight we bring you to southern South America, and to show us its beautiful Argentina is a good friend of the Asian Bird Fair, Horacio Matarasso. Horacio is the founder of Buenos Dias Birding. He is also the vice president of the Tour Guide Association in Argentina, consultant to the Wetlands International in South America, and the president of the International Committee of the South America Bird Fair. Horacio, ¿cómo estás?
Hello, ¿cómo estás? Muy
How are you?
bien.
Are you ready to show us your beautiful country?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, you can start now.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, my friends. Alex from my team is also here, just in case. Okay, we are talking about Southern South America today. You know, everybody know where South America is. People say that is the continent of the birds because we have around more than 3,500 species, bird species, and amazing places. We will talk today just about Southern South America, the three countries in the Southern Cone that are Chile, Argentina, and Uruguay. Actually, I am in Argentina, based in Buenos Aires city, but just to realize how is the country, is we are talking about 4,000 kilometers long and 1,700 kilometers wide, including the three countries. So they are including backgrounds. We have close to 1,300 species, but there are something more interesting about the regions that we are talking about today. We have 12 different, completely different regions, like you will see Amazonian, kind of Amazonian rainforest or completely cold steppes in Patagonia. But the most interesting thing is that they are completely wild areas. For example, in Argentina, in my country, we are 45 million people, more or less. But one third live in just one city, in Buenos Aires, where am I? So if the density of people in the country, for example, in Argentina, is close to 20 people by square kilometer, there are places where we have less than one people by a square kilometer. It's completely wild. You can go by car, even if you like riding or in a car. You can stay for a couple of hundred of kilometers without to see other people, and plenty of birds. And birds are very confident, very easy to see, to take pictures. This is, to me, one of the most interesting things of the country. Not only the number of species, is the quality of the birding and the possibility to take pictures. So today I shall prepare a presentation of these special environments just to understand how they are. Starting in my city, Buenos Aires, can you see? Here we have the Atlantic Ocean. We have a river called Rio de la Plata, river of the plate. There is the Delta of Paraná. We will talk about the Delta in a moment. And where we are going to start in Buenos Aires city, because most of the flights come to Buenos Aires city. Other possibilities is go to Santiago in Chile, or perhaps Montevideo is smaller, but it's also possible. They are the main cities in Southern South America. But I'm here. From there I am today. This is Buenos Aires. Buenos Aires is, well, it's a very big city, but it's also very green and very birdy. And around the city and inside the city. This is just inside the city. It's one of our reserves. Costanera Sur is called. And this is the national bird that will say welcome to everybody to this talk and to this place of the world. It's called the Rufus hornero. And it's the national bird because 100 years ago, people voted. And people voted because about the nest that the Rufus Hornero made that is with mud, and every year they made a new one and other species can use it. But it's a symbol of our country, and it's a kind of oven with two rooms, one for babies and one for parents. It's just a pretty and amazing. Uh, inside the city, not only around, inside the city, we have around 350 bird species. The list is too much to tell you about all the number of species that we can see, but we have lots of species. One interesting thing in Southern South America, we have around 100 endemic species, and you can imagine we have all kind of groups, families of birds, but some of them are only in South America, the families, not in Southern South America. But we have, for example, some kind of passerines, like this one in a family. The family is called Thraupidae, that is only in South America or South America and Central America. Well, this is a typical bird in some places of the city, like the red-crested cardinal. We have some common hummingbirds in our gardens and parks in the city. Inside Buenos Aires City, for example, we have 13 different species of parrots and parakeets. Most of them, or all of them, not original from the city, but original from other places in the country around the city that in the past they escaped from cages and now are in the city. So we have a lot of things to go. So around the city is a kind of grassland, is completely flat kind of grassland called Pampas grasslands. Now it is plenty of. Sorry? Now it's plenty of cows, horses, and is the crops also. But we still have a lot of grassland, natural grassland, like in the past, going for birding. Usually you will need, for example, 2 hours from the city to go in a very natural and wild area around Buenos Aires. 2 hours is not too much time. It's possible to go and back during the day.
Hey.
In these places, we can see the biggest birds in our continent. That is the great rhea, related to ostrich in Africa, but we have our own family, rheas. It's amazing. Not very easy to find, but it's easy to find in different places. Where are water, we have plenty of lakes in the grasslands. You can imagine there are a lot of birds, like this southern screamer. Screamers is a group of 3 species endemic of South America. 2 are in north of the continent, close to Amazonia and North Venezuela, Colombia, and 1 is the southern screamer, this one, who live in Argentina and Uruguay. And also we receive migratory birds from the North Hemisphere during the winter in North America, is summer here in South America. And we receive a lot of them, like this upland sandpiper. It's not a coastal sandpiper, they live in the grasslands. And this is one of my favorites, is the strange-tailed tyrant. Used to be very common in all the pampas. Now they are only in such places that, especially in the north, where I will talk about where exactly in a moment. But it's a typical bird of the grasslands. So, from Buenos Aires, also we can go to the delta. This is a delta of the Paraná, is the second basin of South America. The first one is the Amazonian. The Amazonas River, everybody knows, is a big river in the north, sharing by Brazil, Peru, Ecuador, a lot of countries. And the second one is the Paraná River, who came from half of Brazil, Bolivia, Uruguay, half of Argentina, Paraguay, and come from here and make this big delta around 300 kilometers long. It's very, very, very big. Like this one, there are some places with forests, lot of wetlands, some grasslands, and still wild because it's not easy to have crops or animals to breed there because there are floods and nobody knows when the next flood will be. So for us, it's amazing. This is a typical landscape of the delta of the Paraná. There are a place that we call Ceibas that I love it, and it's where we usually go. It's imagine it's a kind of place with a lot of water, a lot of birds, different all kind different birds. We sometimes can see around 120 species in one day. This is an average number. In spring, is you always will see at least 100, always. Here we have this roseate spoonbill and some kind of storks called American wood storks. But all here is plenty of birds. And birds in this kind of environments are very confident. We have, of course, predators like the savanna hawk, this blackbird that I love, the scarlet-headed blackbird. The bird that I choose is perhaps it's average because I didn't know exactly how to show because we have a lot of things to show. But I choose if I have the picture or sometimes because I love the bird, it's not easy to me. This is a kind of tanager because tanagers in South America is a very important group for us. Are very colorful kind of birds, and this is one of the most common around Buenos Aires and Delta and where I live. Blue and yellow tanager. But tanager is very important group in South America. If you came, you will see a lot of them. Another in this system of wetlands, it's not only the delta. We have the Pantanal here in the north, and in the middle we have Ibera wetlands. Ibera, this is a picture, is more subtropical weather. It's very interesting for us because the species in Ibera are not the same as in the delta, and usually we combine with other places. This is a typical vision of the Ibera, where we still have grasslands, we have forests, different kind of forests, like little island of rainforest. We have this kind of Chaco forest. I will talk about them in a moment, and a lot of water and wetlands. So it's a perfect place. It's wild, no people. It's very interesting to go. I love Ibera. It's a place where we have macaws, red and green macaw, one of my favorites. Of course, there are more than birds, like the marsh deer. This deer is the biggest in South America. We have two different species of caimans, shabirus, and you can imagine a lot of birds, rails, crakes, lots of birds from the water. Ducks, of course, coots, grebes. Going to north immediately, here, remember, was the Pampas grassland, here Ibera, Delta, and going to north in this area, we have the Atlantic rainforest. The Atlantic rainforest is one of the two kind of Amazonian forests in South America, and this is, in the Atlantic, we share with Brazil, is more famous from Brazil, but we have also a lot of them here and is very well conserved. This is imagine people working. We have euphonias. This is the chestnut bill. Of course, we have a lot of hummingbirds, like this one. It's a kind of hermit, the planalto hermits. Manakins, like the bandtails, and different kind of toucans and toucanets, like the chestnut-eared here in the picture. Well, it's very, like all the rainforest, you have a lot of groups and very colorful birds and all other animals, no, like mammals to see. But I want to show one special point in the Atlantic rainforest exactly here. where is the Iguazu Falls, because we are proud about these falls. It's very, very big and interesting falls. I love to go there. It's 3 kilometers wide, 100 kilometers high, and it's not just only one. There are more than 300 waterfalls around. This is that all that we are seeing here is the Argentine side, and this part is Brazilian side. So you have lots of places to go, and it's surrounded by lots of national parks, one in the Brazilian side and more than one in the Argentinian side. So it's an amazing place, still with jaguars and lots of mammals, and you can imagine a lot of birds there. You never should miss this waterfall if you come here, because it's completely wild. It's not only interesting for birding, it's amazing, but also is amazing for birding. There are a kind of swift that is called dusky swift that live in the waters, and they make the nest in the other side of the water. You can see when they go inside, flying. It's amazing. Of course, they have predators like kites around. This is a coati, and we have a lot of birds like this trogon. I love the trogons. Well, continue. We can go to this big area that we call Chaco Forest. Actually, it's divided in different kind of Chaco forests. We call the spinal, the thorny forest, the wet Chaco, the dry Chaco. Well, depends where you go, but actually it's different because it's not a rainforest, because there are a dry season. You have 6 months raining, 6 months dry. So they can allow to have a rainforest, but they have a very nice forest with this kind of flowers, and this gilt sapphire is one very common uh, hummingbird there. This is a you can see there are different places of the Chaco forest. Depends where you are, you will see something different. But there are palms, there are dry kind of trees. Yellow cardinal is a bird that I love there. And the seriemas, I think seriemas is you can go out of the country without to see a seriema, because it's a well, the world of the bird is divided in around, depend of the author, around 32 different groups of birds. Like one is the passerine, one is the owls, one is the parrots and parakeets, etc. So one of them is the seriema. Only in South America you have two species in the order of the seriema, Cariamiformes. So this is one of the two species. And sometimes perhaps some people resemble the secretary birds in Africa, but because it's similar the environments, and they also eat snakes, so perhaps it's a conversion. And this red-billed side-bill is a kind related to furnarids, we call. Is a group of brown birds, sometimes difficult to recognize. We have a lot. It's one of our big families of passerines. We have three big families of passerines. Furnarids is called one of them. The Thraupids, this is one. The name of the family is Thraupidae, and the third is the tyrants, like the strange-tailed tyrant that I talked about. So, and there are more about others. So the winds comes from Brazil, from the east, and here we have the Andes Mountains. It's a very long mountain systems from north to Colombia to here, the south in Tierra del Fuego, the Fireland, we call this island. So we have all around, we have along the Andes, and when the winds comes here, they crush the Andes, and we have a lot of rains, and we have a cloud forest on the mountains, and we call chungas. It's the local name from this kind of Amazonian forest. Is the other rainforest that we have in north, plenty of species, very interesting. Of course, with more toucans, We have one kind of tipper, the rufous-throated in the streams. We have a family in the all north of the country that we call wans. Crachidae is the name of the family. This is the dusky-legged. And in the related to crows, we have the jays, flash-crested jays. If we continue going up to the mountains, we have the Andean steppes. When we go to up, because the mountains there have altitudes around sometimes 6,000 meters. It's very high. It's not necessary to go to the top. In the slopes of the mountains, we have the Andean steppes. Like here, you can see, for example, you have different kind of forests on the base. This is no more cloud forest because it's too high. This is the last level of the forest. But here we have a lot of steppes with a lot of birds, species, even sometimes families of birds that you can see if you go here in the forest. Are endemic sometimes. And also we have species like the Andean condor. Condor we have in all the mountains. Perhaps Patagonia is where it's more easy to see. It's completely for sure. If you want to take a picture of a condor, we can go, and after 2-3 hours, you will see the condor. This flicker, for example, in these environments, the high steppes, is a kind of woodpecker that live completely independent of the forest, of trees, of any kind of tree. They make the nest they make the holes in the cliff, and they eat ants and they eat on the ground. It's nice. And finches like the saffron finch, and we have a lot of finches there. Mike said that there are a lot of people making questions, and of course, Mike, you can take all the questions. At the end, you can give me the questions. I will be glad to answer them. Alex will help me. But one very crazy place of the Andes, because it's difficult even to explain, is a plateau, a completely flat area that's perhaps 200, 300, 400 in some places, 400 wide, that is on the top of the Andes. So this area is around 4,000 meters over the sea level, 4,000 meters up. So even if you need to go slowly, go in for 2-3 days to stay there, if you can walk, or you can stay there burning, because it's not the best if you go from Buenos Aires, for example, directly to the Puna. It's better going slowly. So it's amazing, because you can imagine you have a lot of endemic birds of this environment, and where you find water, all of them will be there. Like here, for example, no? You are in a part of the lake at 4,000 meters over sea level, and you see the mountains around with 6,000 meters. You have this special sandpiper plover, the Edmund. We have there 2 different species of flamingos that are endemic of this area, and a lot of little finches and passerines like the black-hooded Sierra finch. So it's amazing, and it's a place where you can go all year round. Well, let's move now to this area that is the driest area of southern South America. Is the Monte, we call it Monte bushlands. It's different in north with cactus, like south, and in this area, like it's endemic of all the environment is endemic. You have some endemic birds of Argentina, for example. I told you that we have around 100 endemic species, but most of them are from Patagonia or from this southern area. Well, it's very dry area. This is the kind of bush that we have there. and the birds are concentrated where we have water, like this is the Chilean flamingo flocks. Of course, coots we have everywhere. You can imagine plovers, and some endemics like the rusty-backed monjita is a kind of tyrant. Tyrants in South America are kind of flycatchers, but not related with the flycatchers of Asia. Are completely different families. Even in the world of the passerines, are completely not related families of birds, suborders. We have in the mountain we have the crowned solitary eagle, one of the biggest. Of course, the group of family in all the country we have tinamous. Tinamous are related to ostrich and the rhea. It's not are not related to the quails, for example, from the Asia partridge or Europe or Africa. It's a family of neotropical birds related to rheas in a different group, but more close of them. Going south, even south, we have the Patagonian steppes. Very cold in winter. It's very snowy. Now they have a lot of. Now we are in winter now, so there's plenty of snow. With other species of rhea, the lesser rhea. This is how you see going from Patagonia. Patagonia is. Can you see this river? Well, this is the limits between Patagonia going to south until here this island called Tierra del Fuego and Malvinas Islands. This is like you see. If you see to the west, you will see the mountains of the Andes, but this is the steppes. We have two different kind of geese, upland and ashy. Ashy usually is more close to the Andes. Lots of birds like the long-tailed meadowlark. I can promise if you come to show you. And a lot of tyrants. Some of them are migratory, that they usually live during the spring and summer. They breed in Patagonia, for example, but during the winter they move to north. And when you go to west to the mountains, the situation of the weather is completely different than north, because here the winds comes from the west, and here in the mountains we have all the rains and the best for trees. We have very nice forests in Patagonia. Here was the steppes completely dry. Here is the mountains with the forest. It's a kind of forest from we call southern beaches. It's a kind of tree that you can find in New Zealand, in Tasmania, because in the past was all south of the big continent of Gondwana all together, and the continents are moving in the world, and we still have in Patagonia and in New Zealand and fossils in Antarctica. It's a nice forest. It's divided in 4 different kinds. One of my favorites is the very old ancient forest of this kind of Araucaria is the name, monkey puzzle tree in English. Is from the times of the dinosaurs, when before the human being exists on the surface of our planet, before the mammals, the Araucarias live here in this part of the world with dinosaurs. It's an amazing place, and I think it's necessary to visit once. In this forest, we have a lot of species like Tapaculo is a group here. We have a lot of species, more in the Andes. And the biggest woodpecker is not the biggest of the world. You have the biggest, but it's the biggest in the Americas. Even in Spanish, the English name is Magellanic woodpecker, but in Spanish we call giant woodpecker, carpintero gigante. I love it. I worked as biologist, as ornithologist. I worked in this species long time ago. And the wiretail, the smooth wiretail. We have a lot of birds that we need to call because they live inside the canes in the forest. But it's amazing when you can see. And finally, moving to coast, can you see we have lots of coasts, the Pacific and the Atlantic. This is a picture of the Atlantic. Pacific usually have more number of species. I love Pacific coast. We are lots of species of penguins. This coast is, can you see, all of them are Magellanic penguins. There are places where you have colonies, and you can see these places, plenty of them. Going south, you have the big king penguin, especially around Tierra del Fuego, Fireland Islands, and in south of Chile and south of Argentina, because in the past people ate the penguins, and now the populations are recovering and growing up. We are very happy about that. Of course, like all coast, we have plovers, sandpipers. This is a population of red knot. Lots of species like terns and gulls and all that you can see in the coast typically. Actually, if you go inside the sea in a pelagic trip or even with a boat, it's possible also in Atlantic and Pacific. You will see petrels, albatrosses, and the Magellanic diving petrel. We have 4 species of diving petrels, stone petrels. All of them are different families related that is possible to see. If you like the pelagic bird, it's also possible to include. Okay, this is one of our visitants who came last year from Asia, from Philippines, and Mark, he will show us 3 best circuits to me. I consider the 3 best possibilities if you can, because what is the best to me? Well, the best is if you can combine in the smaller distance the more number of environments and places. Some people do that. For example, we start in Buenos Aires and we go by car. We cross to the Delta, we cross the Pampas, we cross the Chaco, we cross Libera, and we cross different places of the Atlantic rainforest, and we end in Iguazu. So some people just visit this area, Pampas, Deltas, and Buenos Aires, flight to here, for example, Iguazu or here, and visit from Iguazu and rainforest and Ibera. Depends how many days, how many time do you have. There in the place, you have 640 species. How many will you see? Well, depends of you, but sometimes people usually see around 300 species. Half or less than half. Depends. Depends also where, no? Best time is March to November. Why? Because it's possible come here all year round, but if you come December, January, and February, here in the north is too hot. If you like hot weather, come. But it's too hot. I'm talking about sometimes 40 degrees in January. So we recommend come here March to November. There are best times, like for example, September, October, November. You need, if you go by land, you need at least 12 days. If you have more, better. And second option that we suggest, going to north, because you remember if you saw the different environments, you can see most of them in a very short distance here, where you can see Chaco, the cloud forest, the high plateau, all the Andean environments, and even this endemic area, the Monte bushlands. You have also similar number, but completely different. You can combine also if you have more time. Also, is the best time March to November. This is possible, but the problem of December and January, December, the problem is the rains here in the Chungas, but it's possible all year round. And you need perhaps a little more time, 2 weeks, to come here. And my favorites, Patagonia. Remember, Patagonia is southern. I can show you here. Patagonia is southern of South America. Most of the people want to see here the Fire Island and the south of Patagonia. That is also amazing. But what happened in Patagonia? We have less number of species, more confidence, more number of endemics. But if you go south, you will have less number. So if you want to see 90% of all the Patagonian species and all the endemic species, you should go to north, this area, and include also Chile and Argentina, both countries, because you can in only 500 kilometers, you can see here the mountain, the steppe, the high Andes, the 4 different kind of forests only here in northwest Central Valley of Chile and the coast of the Pacific coast. So this is an amazing. I was living 18 years here in San Martin de los Andes. My children born there, and I love especially this place. Now, because I have Buenos Dias Verde, my company, I moved to Buenos Aires, where I grew up actually. But I love all Patagonia. You have very wild areas. You can go kilometers and kilometers alone in no pavimented roads. So, well, no pavimented roads are everywhere here in Southern South America. We have, if you go here, you have 360 species. Only possible, perhaps, not the best, perhaps only possible October to March, because it's Patagonia, it's south, and going south, you have snow on winter, it's very cold, it's rainy, so we don't suggest to come here in our winter to go to Patagonia. If you want to come here in July, August, June, perhaps go to north, Buenos Aires and north. If you want to go here to Patagonia, best time is summer here, spring here. Some months, like for example, September, October, November, you can go all the countries and visit all places. And from here, you will need around 2 weeks. Perhaps if you want to combine north and south, perhaps 10 days and 10 days everywhere. You will have the best number of species and the best pictures. Okay, it was all, my friends. Mike, if you are here and you can make the questions.
Yes, actually, there are some questions. Let me go to William. William, yes, please.
I was actually joking. I don't think there's a stonepecker, but you said that the flicker doesn't live near trees, but it lives in the cliffs, right?
Yes.
So but it's not a woodpecker. It's a different group.
No, it's a woodpecker. It's in the yes, it's in the family of the family is Picidae. The name.
Okay. Yeah, because it very much looks like woodpecker. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, we have different species of flicker. Some of them still nesting, different species nesting in trees, but they go for feed to the grassland, for example, in the pampas. But this is completely independent.
Cool. Nice, beautiful birds. A lot of really interesting targets to go and look at there.
Okay, come.
Yes.
Okay, all right, so you can turn off your screen. Turn off the PowerPoint.
Turn off?
Yeah, you can turn it off. It's okay. So, Carlos from Spain. I know you also have a question, please. Hola, Carlos. Yes.
Now.
Yes,
hello.
Please.
I'm here.
We usually talk in Spanish with Carlos, but
well, it doesn't matter. I think we can understand each other in English. No, my question was about the conservation stage of condor in your country, in Argentina. how is condo population, and it is also it is diclofenac allowed in for cattle sheep?
No, it's not allowed, but still some people can use it. Some people even shoot them. There are most problems north of the country, not in south. But actually, we have a lot of big populations, even in south. That's kind of I told you is if you want to see, I can promise go and see after 2 hours. If you go to
Sure.
take a flight, go to Patagonia, for example, San Martín de los Andes, you go around, you will see for sure because they have some roosting places, different roosting places in different places, and they go to sleep there to stay during the night. And sometimes some days you have 5, some days you have 40. Depends of the food or where are dead animals. But it's completely for sure to see.
Okay, thank you.
Wow, excellent. Okay. So any more questions?
I actually wondered how many people live in Argentina if you go south from Buenos Aires. After you leave the province, it looks, if you look at the map, it looks completely deserted. Like all of Patagonia and this whole area of Argentina. Is it really so remote and few people live there?
Well, in Patagonia, I don't know the number. I know the density, the human density is less than 1 person by a square kilometer. But they are concentrated in some little towns, and there are places where you have 300 kilometers between one town and the next town. So it's amazing. It's amazing. I love that. Some people don't like to be alone. They need a.
It's difficult to imagine living in the Philippines where you cannot go 300 meters between the next.
Exactly. Yes.
Yes,
You have no pavement roads, and you must have a very good car to arrive to the next town.
Because Horacio, you keep mentioning, there are less people, this is a vast land, but what about accommodation? What about food? All those logistic things.
Food, you have never will have problems here in the country. We have all kind of weather, and we produce in Argentina all food that we need. So accommodation depends where you go, but usually tourism is important in the country. And even if you go to these towns long away, you will have good accommodations everywhere.
Okay.
Even if you want 5-star hotels, perhaps in the most important places you will have 5-star hotel. But usually you have something better that are the big ranches in, like we call estancias, very luxury places. If you want, you have a ranch and you can stay with the owners, living like a king in the middle of nothing, middle of the nature.
Okay. Ixi has a question. Yeah, Ixi.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, please.
When Alfredo spoke, when we went to Costa Rica, he gave an estimated amount for a certain number of days. Can you give that? Can you also make an estimate?
Yes, you can. If you have, for example, depends. The most important thing is how many people. Because if you come alone, it's different. If you are a group, for example, the cheaper is if you are 3 people, because you can go 3 in a car with a guide. In this case, for example, if you want to combine several places and you can, for example, 2 weeks, depends of which of the trips, but the cost could be around 4,000, perhaps less, 3,000, perhaps $4,000 for person, by person.
Per person.
Yes.
Okay. And that includes like the car, the hotel, meals, everything already, no?
Yes. You can come without money, without wallets, and there are no places where to spend more money.
Okie dokes. Sige. Muy bien.
Okay. Our
And
friend,
practice your Spanish.
we have another question from Mads. Mads
Who's going to ask, Matt or Luan?
or Luan?
Okay, Matt. Yes, go ahead, Matt.
Hi. I'm wondering about the parks in Buenos Aires. Who funds those? The government or private institutions or partnership? I mean, the upkeep and maintenance and all that.
No,
The national-
I'm not sure. iPhone, do you understand, Alex? Alex?
Alex.
Yeah,
Hello.
so who, hello everyone. Yeah, so basically who provides the money in order to fund the parks around
Yeah.
Buenos Aires?
Well, the government provides most of the money. In some parks, you need to, in all of them, or most of them, you pay if you go to visit a park like, or other parks. To collect money to
Tulungan mo siya.
maintenance.
Tulungan mo siya.
But the entrance of the park are not expensive. So usually, if you come alone, for example, you will pay around never more than $50. But usually $25, $20 depends on the park. And some parks and little parks that are non-national are, for example, from provinces or from some cities sometimes are for free. For example, parks inside Buenos Aires city all of them are for free. The government maintains.
Excellent.
Mm.
Okay. More
Yeah.
questions?
Alejandra here from Iberá wetlands, she found that the total population of Patagonia is 2 million people.
Oh, okay.
We are around a place like the size of perhaps half Europe.
Oh.
It's 2,000 kilometers long, even more.
Wow. Actually, it's a huge country with less people but more wildlife, right?
Yes,
Wow.
everybody's invited.
Right. Any more questions? Ladies and gentlemen?
Luan.
Hi.
Yes, Luan.
Yes. Earlier I heard you talk about leopards or jaguars. So it's
Well, we
one
have
of the
jaguars.
it's one of the wonderful things about birding, where you also enjoy the rest of the wildlife. So I was wondering how that's integrated in your tour and if they're difficult to see, especially the black-coated ones.
Yes. Well, of course, we love all kind of animals. Sometimes some people wants just to come for birding. Okay, we go for birding. But most of the people wants to come and see all wildlife, landscapes, wildlife, of course, mammals, and about the big cats and even the little cats because we have a lot of them. Jaguar is not easy in our country. It's not easy. We are reintroducing in Iberá wetlands, and we expect to be easier in the future. But now, all the north have jaguars, but we never can promise. It's more easy to promise pumas. Puma is another big cat in all the countries, and it's easier to see in Patagonia, southern Patagonia, actually, and is perhaps possibility to see is probability is more than 90%, 90% of the probability to see. Some places, if you stay 3-4 days, you will see for sure. In spring, in summer. But jaguar, we can't promise.
Okay. The big cats are always difficult, right?
Yes.
Okay, next.
Well,
Yes.
just in case if somebody have questions in the future, they can send a message, an email, and we will happy to answer all kind of questions.
Yeah, would you please read your email address to us?
I can write here, and everybody will see.
Okay.
There is.
Okay, then we will share this with our friends on Facebook.
Okay.
Okay.
Lots of friends
Johnny
joining
asked.
on Facebook.
Johnny is asking how many birds in total for Argentina. In Argentina, only we have a little more than 1,000, perhaps 1,010 species. So, Johnny, prepare to come.
Yeah, I guess so. Right.
We are going to visit Johnny next year, so Johnny can come here to visit us.
Hey, Horacio, since you have joined maybe 3 or 4 Asian bird fairs already, yeah, can you tell us? Can you tell everyone what's the difference between the Asian bird fair and the South American bird fair? Oh, because content-wise, there's a lot of different. For me, there's a big difference from the one I saw.
Yes, perhaps our bird fair is more like a big party, a meeting of people, friends from all the countries in South America. We spend 3-4 days together, just birding in the morning, and we have lectures and workshops and courses during the afternoon. Of course, we have every night dinners, and we share a beer just to prepare to the next day going again for birding. And this is most of that we have. We have some stands also. Perhaps in the Asian Bird Fair is more important the stands of every company and shops and to buy different things, to know between companies. South America is more to meet people and go for birding. I think perhaps this is the biggest difference. Next one will be here in Peru in 2021. We are going to Cusco, where is close to Machu Picchu. I always say that is South American will be a country. Cusco should be the capital city because it's incredible place from the old Inca Empire, and later was very important to the Spanish colony times. And actually, where is Machu Picchu, surrounded by amazing rainforest. In every different level of the forest, you have different birds. So we will meet there next September.
Wow, September.
September 2021.
2021. Not this year.
No.
Because you always have it in November, right?
Usually we are in November, end of October, but next year we have not exactly the date. We are defining the dates, but we are thinking about September for the next year.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Thank you. And our friend Johnny from Uganda has a question. So, Johnny, please.
I answered. He wanted to know the number of birds.
All right. You've answered that. Okay. All right.
He asked what happens if he don't drink beer. Don't worry, plenty of juice, fruit juice. And mate.
I hope fresh juice.
Okay, we'll invite you to drink mate. That is a kind of similar to the green tea. Okay. It's legal, completely legal. It's not a drug. Mate.
So there are some juices that are drugs, right?
No.
That are illegal.
All are legal.
But one thing is good that now they don't share mate. They drink their own
No.
mate.
No, we can share after the pandemic. Now everybody have their own mate.
Well,
It's not alcoholic. It's just water and.
Not safer in Argentina. All right.
Well,
if there's no question, then we're going to take a group photo before we go.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, one more thing before we go. Yeah, I'm gonna remind you. Next week we'll be in Taiwan. So Mark Wilkie. Mark, please raise your hand.
Wave.
Mark will take us to Taiwan. So be ready for that. Okay, now let's take a photo. Okay, just as usual. Look at the camera, smile, please don't move, and 3, 2, 1. Thank you very much, but we don't see Mike again. Mike.
I'm shy.
Well.
Gracias, Horacio.
Thank you very much, Horacio.
Thank you,
One more thing I'm gonna announce. We are organizing World Perfect Council, and it's gonna announce it very soon. So just keep looking at us. All right.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody.
All right.
And have a nice
Bye.
weekend.
Good night.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.